Henry was born in 1925 and grew up in Portsmouth, Virginia. Henry was a sickly child, growing up in the suburbs of Portsmouth, and he grew up with one major parental role: a father figure. Henry's father, Charles Miller, was a strict authoritarian man with a number of bad habits, mainly drinking. Henry, as a child, was ambitious, seeing his father as a heckin' waste of potential. Henry enjoyed reading and assembling small toys to play with in his father's workshop. Henry delivered papers in the 30s as a way of keeping himself and his drunken father alive and fed. Henry and his dad frequently argued over how to spend money, namely, how much went towards Charles's medicine. In quotations. Henry resented the man more and more as time went on. Henry, ever the average reader, began reading the papers he was delivering as he became a teenager, keeping up to date on law politics. Henry announced that they were joining the Allied war effort 2 months after Henry's father passed away due to liver failure. While Henry was initially relieved to finally have the house for himself, he never quite felt that to be the case. The place always felt inhabited to him. Henry left to join the army, knowing they'd find a role for him, and that it'll get him away from the house and life that he now felt like a prison more than ever. Henry became involved in the war effort as a mechanic, originally as a repair gram on battlefields, but later, once he showed its usefulness behind Allied lines, designing artillery back at Portsmouth, Virginia. Henry's heart grew colder as the war continued from the realization that with every weapon he created, another turret he assembled, men behind enemy lines would die. However, by refusing new work or sabotaging his own designs, he would ensure that men on his team would die. Henry slowly developed a Machiavellian way of seeing the world. Said say that. Henry slowly developed a Machiavellian. Slowly developed a Machiavellian. I said that right. Way of seeing the world. Many of Henry's latest designs were rejected for humanitarian reasons. In quotations. Henry never stopped seeing Blaze faces in his dreams. When the war ended in 45, things were way worse than when he signed up to work for the U.S. Army. With every other soldier returning home, he struggled to find a job despite having a natural affinity for mechanical engineering. The factory he worked for previously no longer made artillery, and many of Henry's former supervisors were glad to see him go, replaced him with fresh blood. Due to Henry's designs and ideas taking a toll on them. Taking the opportunity to use the Army scholarship at its disposal. Daftly due to its redundancy. Henry decided to attend Dartmouth College with Army scholarship. Dartmouth? Henry decided to attend Dartmouth College with an Army scholarship while working part-time at a local restaurant to pay bills. Henry met Martha Miller, Nee Jones, at Dartmouth College, sitting in front of him at a mechanics lecture. The next few paragraphs are cut due to the dark nature. Plenty of death in, but they should have ready series. That being said, he's just creeping out, writing them, comping down my but now how spare you. Henry family can be left up to the imagination. Henry, while studying for his master's degree, heard flickering on the radio in the old car. As he changed the channels, he made out 2 voices, with arguing for prominence on 2 different wavelengths. Namely, a voice belonging to a woman who was weeping, and that of a choking infant. Henry connected the dots, instantly identified the 2 voices. When Henry's time to work on his master thesis arrived, he knew exactly what to name it. The Joy of Creation. The book connected souls with machinery when flesh became intertwined with physical matter and presented souls as a wavelength, having energy and being able to occupy space, using theoretical physics to explain electronic voice phenomena and define life beyond the current system, evolving the 9 predefined characteristics of life. While Henry was initially giving an honorary doctorate from the university for his research, he never actually managed to command the spirits to perform reliably when being nominated for a Nobel Prize, and needing to recreate his own research. Henry's research was hereby determined by scientific minds as pseudoscience, and his doctorate was revoked. Although to the day he disappeared, he always wrote his name as Dr. Henry Waller, feeling his own research is legitimate, and the revoking of his doctorate as a grievous insult. This is also the origin of Henry's control complex of souls, admitting in his logs to using electronical slugs to control souls with fear. Miller left this town shortly after this, leaving South Carolina to respond to a job opportunity that had presented to Henry. Following the public release of its book, while Henry travels south, Henry's family home, and the final resting place of Henry's father, Charles Miller, mysteriously burned out from an unknown arson attack. By the way, Director says in the comments of this post, didn't want him to actually be redeemable. Lots of freaked up killers and stuff have bad past, but to be honest, I didn't want you to sympathize with Henry too badly. Still Henry after all.
Any parents either. Well, from a young age, I was cast out of an orphanage. Turns out nobody really wants to adopt an aubergine kid. New York City in the 1950s. Good luck if you were homeless. You'd be lucky to get a nickel most days. People find goodwill and charity tedious after so long of hearing about the needy children. So I learned how to play the trombone. I formed for bread, drank rainwater, slept went wherever it was and what? I survived, didn't I? Well, I ran away from home. Went rogue, traveled for a while through upstate New York. Drank rainwater in Utica, steam dams in Albany. Then, near the border, I saw something different, something wondrous. Dr. Miller's Fantastical Circus, where fantasy is made real and life has meaning. A local traveling circus, stopping right on its way to Vegas. I snuck in, not having a ticket, and my God, quite the place, allow me tell you. Hot dogs, clowns, lions, excitement. And in the center of it all stood the ringmaster. A stout fella, pink complexion, in a pinstripe outfit, with his signature hat and bow tie. He was Dr. Henry Miller. I was standing in his circus. He thanked everyone for coming down and welcomed us to his show. Promised to show us earth-shattering illusions. He guaranteed to prove that the impossible was possible or your money back. Granted, I snuck in, but I was intrigued by the claim nonetheless. And boy, did he make the impossible possible. Cannons fired on instinct, as if they were sentient. Trapeze artists levitated from bar to bar. Every damn act shattered at least one thing that I thought I knew about reality. The circus itself traveled west and then south, hitting several stops in the Midwest. I followed the circus around, getting a good view of the show most nights, and every single show was incredible. Henry even had a clown persona that he'd done occasionally, got on really well with kids. That guy knew how to act. Well, it never quite reached Vegas. Unfortunately, people tended to turn up missing in towns the circus reached. Bad luck, I guess. The police called it off and arrested the lion tamer. Since the disappearances were investigated as murders, I heard that guy got put to death. Serves him right, ruining Henry's circus, filthy drunk. Oh, trust me, Henry testified in court. Saw him do it. Henry was a good man and a big dreamer. Even after that, he never quite let go of his dream of bringing fantasy to life. He decided to put his doctorate in robotics to use and started up his own restaurant, Fredbears Family Diner. All he needed was a hand to help perform on stage, manage customers, invest a little money into his dream. I was a young man at this point, and had saved a little bit of money up, so I could change my life. I just knew it. Henry's dream would change my life forever. I gave him all of the money I had, and told him that I'd always be there to lend a hand. He cared about me, Dee. Gave me my own character. Let me help him write jokes for his shows. He gave me meaning. He was the first person that taught me how to dream.
A much younger Henry, Justin, a decidedly much dirtier overcoat than he was wearing before, stayed with Much Royal in Greece, carrying traces of sawdust and metallic shreddings in its many fibers and stitches. Dr. Miller, not so much as glancing away from the near tight and bolt he was adjusting with its rusted French, after scrawny and deformed assistant a casual question. William. Dr. Miller casually blurted out, still transfixed by the near tight bolt. Do you think that, in theory, different types of nothing could potentially exist? Dr. Miller's assistant remained leaning against the wall, his vacuous mouth still left blissfully agape. What's that, Henry? Nothing? Miller retorted, before being interrupted by his tin-witted colleague. Oh, that's fine then, William replied nonchalantly. Could have sworn you asked me a... William, Miller stated, we're taking control of the narrative in hell. And now, focused on mining a small metallic spring-loaded mechanism, which looked not a mic, a mousetrap attached to a rod-shaped fastener. Do you think that there's different types of nothing in this world, or not? Sorry, I'm not wearing glasses. I don't know why I've decided to do this, because I can't read. Anyway, William placed his expansive palm over his chin, now deep in thought. Well, probably not, Henry, since, nothing is... William spoke hesitantly. Well, nothing is nothing, So I don't see how that could possibly be different types of... Dr. Miller stopped, meticulously recoiling Mr. Ring in his hand for a moment, wondering how to explain his vision to a simple friend. William, Millimum, Bolt. Nothing in darkness are very similar to the untrained eye, but fundamentally different once he noticed the difference at least once. William leaned his head forward, rubbing his mitt-like hands upon his plump, huge scalp, almost certainly attempting to run his fingers through hair he didn't have. Explain. William demanded of Henry. Henry smiled, coiling the spring again. Now his trap was set. You see, William, Henry murmured, I want you to note exactly what you can see out of both your eyes right now. William nodded and gazed forward, absorbing his immediate visible surroundings. Well, Henry cooed. William internalized the dingy surroundings of the dark room they found themselves in. How prepared to describe Henry's watch off in detail. From my left eye, William started, still gazing fixed upon a horizon far beyond the concrete confines of the room he found himself in. I can see a table, some tools, some blueprints some blueprints printed on leftover stock card from when you let me draft up our menus on my lunchbox. Can't forget that. On one of your other eye, Henry inquired, what does that eye see? Well, obviously I could see you, winding up some kind of device that you could put in your unfinished pot, right? Dave responded, now hesitant on whether or not he was bumbling his way onto one of Henry's quite typical cruel lessons. Crudely stated, but ultimately correct. Hold on, Henry replied, validating William's response before giving his partner a second instruction. Now close both eyes. Now close both eyes, Henry dictated to William. William shut both of his eyes tightly. Well, now I see nothing, Henry. William replied, sure of his answer. Due to his lack of visual awareness, William had no time to brace himself before he received an unyielding impact. Gutsy at the French cylinder, Dr. Miller's left hand. William yelped like a confused animal, held his jaw tightly and paced a few steps backwards, careful to not expose his back to Henry. Darkness? Henry barked, breaking his previously lucid composure, waving his French around within striking distance of William. You didn't see nothing, you saw darkness, William. Henry slowly turned back to his watch and continued cranking the coil of the mechanism that was, again, holding his sole interest now that William was disciplined. Henry didn't bother to turn his back to check if William had fled the room. He knew that his assistant wouldn't. I don't understand. William stuttered, sniffling back tears. Henry sighed deeply. Oh, yield those incessant waterworks and tell me what you can see from your right eye. Oh, yield those incessant waterworks and tell me what you can see from your right eye again. Henry responded nonchalantly. William took a moment to compose himself and replied to Henry again, reiterating his last answer. I see you, Henry. William replied, broken-hearted. Henry grinned, wide and terrible, showing his rarely-seen teeth. Now close your right eye then, Henry responded, but this time, keep the left one open so you can still see the tools and our blueprint sitting on the desk. William nodded, following the command faithfully and without hesitation. What can you see from your right eye now? Well, Henry asked William. William stood in silence for a moment before responding with the nature of a sad, pitiful realization. Nothing, William replied, his greatest fear coming to light. Where I saw you, and now see nothing, Henry chuckled. Nothing may appear to be remarkably similar to darkness before you notice its key difference, Henry stated. In darkness, there is life hiding behind a threshold of undetectability, and every abyss potential for something to let beyond the confines of where simple observation really cannot reach. Darkness is simply that which light cannot touch. Henry finished tightening the coil at last, finishing the touches on his masterpiece. Within nothing, there's no light trap beneath. Within nothing, there's no light trap beneath the waves of obscurity, no surrounding atmosphere left to fill the vacuum, no substance to obscure any nuance. Oblique or otherwise, no potential of substance. Nothing is a cancer that cannot be filled, nothing can be quenched and will consume any space that simply isn't a place where light could be, but won't ever be. Henry affectionately placed his hand on William's now bloody chin. Now that you see it too, don't you want to protect others from it? Henry asked him, don't you want to stay here, in the light, knowing that I won't ever let you become nothing? William forced a shaky smile and frantically nodded, tears in his eyes. Henry's face contorted into a smile, no less sinister, but noticeably wider, with closed lips, holding back all the words Henry's conscience would be commanding Henry to warn William with. Had Dr. Miller actually possessed a conscience, no matter how minute? Dr. Miller stretched his hand out whimsically, referring to the costume, now sitting on the table. How does it look, William? Henry asked, turning to face his partner, who turned back, fixating himself on the costume to stop his very being from straying towards inconsolability. It's that mine? It's that mine. William stuttered, pacing slowly towards it. Henry chuckled. Yes, Henry responded, needing no more words to complete the exchange. William's hand outstretched slowly, running down the stretched curvature of the suit's hips. It matches yours, William stated, noting the golden fabric with purple highlights. It's gold. Henry's mouth stretched in something not quite a smile, not quite a grimace, gaping and soulless. You deserve no less, partner. Henry replied, putting a hand on William's shoulder, and nothing could change that.
On opening night, William's suit failed during a dress rehearsal. This was my own doing. I intentionally misdesigned the spring-loaded retention locks in William's suit, knowing full well that the spring mechanisms inside the suit would fail, with him inside. He died a predictably painful death on stage, following his bow at the end of our performance. What a moron. But the end result was fascinating, and an eventuality that I had never considered. Despite steel rods piercing William's flesh and puncturing his lungs, William still walks amongst the living. At first, I considered that William may be somehow immortal, but soon enough, I noticed a minor change in his physicality. William has done something that no spirit has ever done before. To my knowledge, he has repossessed his own corpse. My original intention was to give William a nudge later down the line and have a then freshly deceased William take the blame for the kids that we abducted. But this result is far more interesting. William seems to be utterly devoted to me. My current theory is that he repossessed his own body out of desperation. He essentially re-entered his own corpse, so he could keep going as if he never died. Most peculiar. William will stay as my partner. This development will advance my work by many months, perhaps even whole years. William's soul is both extremely unusual in the manner in which it possessed its vessel, but also in the fact that he has no idea what I've done to him, unlike the others. He will do anything that I tell him to do. He will act with complete obedience. William foolishly thinks that he has hidden this from me, but I can assure you that I can use this to my advantage. What would happen if William was to die again and repossess the same vessel? What if I were to damage his brain or remove his organs whilst he slept? Would he keep repossessing his old body just to stay with me? How far is this soul willing to go for me? How much pain will this soul endure just to stay here with me? If his soul was to pass on to the afterlife, could I trust it to come back? This may be the breakthrough that I was hoping for. My previous plan of intimidating and scaring the souls of lost children with violence and electrostatic forces was far too convoluted. William is the only test subject that I need now. The trust that William has placed in me is ill-founded. Now, my work can truly begin. William has proven to be a most intriguing test subject. From my possessed animatronics, I've noticed that souls seem to be capable of retaining a limited amount of memories. Upon interacting with my victims, I realized that they seem to remember who I am, occasionally, and respond with defensive, animalistic aggression. Unfortunately, this memory doesn't seem to apply to all human behaviors, such as the ability to speak. Granted, Fredbear's lips are unable to curl into the shapes needed to imitate human speech. But William has not seen a single attempt to speak come from the animatronics during routine surveillance. Fredbear growled at him once, but that hardly counts. Thankfully, William has provided me with a way to quantifiably measure how much memory and what kinds of memory are retained in the soul. Once a month, I anesthetize William and remove one of his vital organs, or typically a portion of his brain. Usually, tissue from the frontal lobe, due to it being a generously accessible mass of neurological material. Surprisingly, William doesn't seem to be suffering from dementiated memory loss, but rather a shift in personality. His conscience is unburdening itself, and he has begun to ask substantially fewer questions about the ethics of our work. At any rate, at least I know a cure to William's incessant whining. I've begun to leave William alone with the animatronics at night. Unbeknownst to him, he is being recorded around the clock, allowing me to watch him from afar and without tainting my results with his sentimentality. Sometimes William speaks to himself. I'd rather not think about what he's said lately. Work continues as usual. I will make the impossible possible. William is a useless excuse for a test subject. His crying has burdened my analytics, and he no longer shows any rate of change, even with entire internal organs being removed. Even without a heart, he is unchanging, unyielding. I made the mistake of telling him about my deceased son, David, and now William has run wild with the idea of replacing him, and for me to become the father that he never had. William is a monster, my monster, and I don't want him bearing my name, no less my son's. William cannot follow simple instructions, cannot control his emotions, and is too afraid to leave his own rotting vessel for even a second, even when incentivized with controlled shocks. I'm going to abandon William, leave him to mop up, back at the diner, under constant camera supervision. I need to properly gauge how he copes with abandonment. I will continue my work and claim victims in other Freddy's locations. Just as the invasive cuckoo bird lays eggs in the nests of other birds, I shall claim victims at competing Freddy's locations, forcing them to maintain and monitor my test subjects. Another advantage of a lower density pattern of victims is their inability to gang upon me in the same place. Once enough souls are collected, I will have a substantial number of souls to produce the machine that I have hoped to build from day one. A machine that can successfully take an adult male from our realm to another, and back again. Soon, I aim to no longer be in this realm at all. Life as we know it will change, and you have me to thank for it.
It's a real shame that you springlocks aren't able to compete with the robots over at Freddy Fazbenders, Henry. Wouldn't it be possible to try and go for something more organic?
Oh, but that's exactly the plan, William. Metal has a life force and breathes, just as we do. It's the future, Willie. Flesh merged with steel. Steel merged with flesh.
I don't get what you mean, Henry. Why exactly did we lure those kids off? Why didn't we stuff them into the robots? How does any of this make them more lifelike? I just don't understand what we're doing is.
Give it time, William. One day, you will know the joy of creation.
Henry, we need to talk.
Do we, Willie?
Yes, we sure do. Ever since we abducted that little girl, everything here has been weird as fuck. Tables emptied in themselves, things moving. Customers here and whispers about us. About what we've done. And those robots have turned aggressive. Springbonnie almost bit my hand off during routine maintenance. I don't want to be inside that thing anymore. I knew that this was a bad idea. You lied to me. You took her life away, and we don't even have a third robot here. None of this was to make her more lifeline. What we've killed is our own dream.
Shush. Relax, William. I know what I'm doing. I'm working on the solution to our problems right now.
What's that on your desk, Henry? It looks like a marionette.
This isn't just any marionette, Willie. This is a vessel for our little friend.
I see.
We've killed beyond our means, Willie.
You mean you killed beyond your means?
In any case, this puppet is the solution to all of our problems. The moment that dumb girl enters this puppet, she'll be stuck as a puppet. And then, she'll be our puppet, being pulled by our strings, unable to harm us like the other two can.
Okay, what about the abductions? Freddy Fazbenders has better looking robots, and passive bad 3 children get abducted in their restaurant. 3 kids have died here. The police will...
Relax, Willie. I've pinned the 3 missing children on our missing night guard. He's lying, half dead in the back. The police will presume that he took the kids away. Poor fool probably won't even get a gravestone. The suits have been bleached. This is a minor hiccup.
What, Freddy's?
I will pay a visit to Freddy's soon. Those 3 dead children will look like nothing compared to the 5 children that are going to go missing at Freddy's next week.
Henry, I don't like this.
Willie, this is our dream.
Yeah, but...
This is what we have to do. Our diner. Our family. Our dream. This is what you wanted.
Henry,
You wanted this.
Okay.
Now, go talk to the police. Make it out like that night guard was always a soulless creep. I'll finish this puppet. Peter. I failed. I couldn't save her.
Henry? What are you... Oh God!
Stephen.
Henry! Are those... So it was you. Those 5 kids over in Utah. That was... What were you thinking? Now I have
Step
to...
aside.
Excuse me?
Step aside. I'll be leaving now.
What? No, like hell! You just murdered 5 of our customers during peak business hours. Like hell I'm letting you leave.
I see you want to do this the hard way.
Henry, what the fuck are you doing?
Whatever. Oh, wait. invariably complex nature of incorporeal soul matter has led to a promising discovery. It would seem that souls come in two types: clear souls and black souls. Clear souls seem to act as neutral spirits. So far, every single child that has died at my hand has produced a clear, desaturated spirit. These souls are relatively weak, containing little energy when contained within a vessel, yet still containing some form of free will and control of their respective vessels. Black souls, on the other hand, appear dark, like shadows. Black souls tend to be self-expressed in hues of purple and black. These souls, from my own observations, tend to manifest from adults. The magnitude of a soul's power seems to be determined by emotion itself. Children's souls are weak for this very reason. Children, having undeveloped brains, only hold on to certain emotions upon death. Fear being the main emotion. Adults, however, have a more sophisticated emotional palette. Anger, lust, greed, and even envy could manifest in souls. However, the most interesting emotion of all, in my observations, seems to be regret. Regret directly taints a soul, turning it charred and black. And with the darkened hue comes considerable power. While spatial manipulation and hauntings usually go hand in hand. Take your common poltergeist, for example. This manipulation is usually only strong enough to raise or launch matter. However, since the strength of a soul's power to manipulate its surroundings is determined by the emotion contained within it, one could argue that if a soul were to contain an intense enough regret, why, it might be able to engage in temporal manipulation. Could a soul reverse time through a physical manifestation of its own regret? Perhaps not. But should a soul contain an intense, unyielding regret, it may be able to travel between timelines, and indeed enter the spatial vacuum between timelines. The soul's ultimate desire to turn back the clock. An interesting thought, but one sadly unrelated to my studies. Time is a merely misunderstood spatial dimension, and the discoveries I aim to make should transcend what we ought to know about space-time relativity. My research continues as normal.
Well, kid, I have a business proposition. I want to leave this place, but the company has dirt on me, so I can't turn my back on it. You're a clean slate. Oh, now I need to pay Evan Watch Hands to do some dirty work. If you do this for me, you'll be rewarded nicely.
Get settled in on your first night.
Sorry, I just had to cut that asshole off. What a fucking passive neck. Anyway, good fucking going on land in a minimum wage job. When you have to fend off gigantic belt-covered bastard animals who want to snap your neck and stuff you into a fucking bear suit. That phone guy left some tips of his own to help you survive, but honestly, they didn't do him much good. Spoiler alert, he fucking died. What a nerd. So, good old Davey is gonna give you some of his pre-recorded safety tips. Tip number 1, don't let those bastards lay a finger on you. They can, and will, stuff you into a fucking bear suit. Take it from me, those suits smell like slaughtered tumblers. Tip number 2, don't use too much power. You have 2 blast doors on either side of you, and 2 door lights. You can use those to check when the robots are coming. And if they're ready to pounce on you, you can create a titanium fucking barrier between you and the deranged rabbit trying to fuck you up. Sadly, those impractical design measures were designed by me, meaning they're a fucking hindrance. Both the doors and the lights have your power, and if your power meter runs to 0, the bear is gonna come out and fuck you up. Remember, you can't not wrestle a fucking bear, so make sure you don't run out of power. By the way, this place is totally fucking haunted, and that's on me. I saw it murdered a few dozen kids back in the 80s, and stuffed them into the robots down in pure stag for the company. Don't worry though, kids don't count as real people. I'll call you tomorrow. And remember, you can't out-wrestle the bear, so don't even try.
Hello? Hello? Well, if you're hearing this and you made it to day 2, congrats. I won't talk quite as long this time.
Hey, how you doing, man? It's me again, Big Dick Baby, 92A. Good job on not getting stuffed into a tacky fucking bear suit. Honestly, tonight should be the exact same as last night was. Just with slightly angry robots who will try to rip your throat out twice as hard. Oh, I forgot to mention, you're probably well acquainted with the bear, the rabbit, and the duck by now. But there's a fourth one in the building. Yeah, there's a fucking fax behind that tacky as shit purple curtain in the dining area. Yeah, that fax is fucking mental, by the way. He's going to slowly kick out of his curtain and then charge at you like a fucking banshee. He's a twitchy and decisive prick. Half of the company seems to have a thing for that fax, to be perfectly honest. Company tried to build the whole faxy in strip club. Awful fucking idea. No response to that far too touchy with the fax, if you catch my drift. Faxy's a real special character though. A fan favorite. And the only robot Freddy's will ever get to visit the Grand Canyon. Oh, if he charges at you, close the left door as soon as you hear his rapid fucking scream. If you're not in the office when he charges at yet, may Fredbear have mercy on your soul. Well, that's enough pretending that I care about your safety for this night. I'll call you tomorrow with more Freddy's related bullshit trivia. See you on the mean side.
Hello? Hey, you're doing great. Most people...
Hey, yo, Doggo. It's me, baby. Wow, 9-3. Incredible. See, if there's one thing I can do, it's give bad advice to future night guards. By the way, since these messages are pre-recording, I have no actual idea whether you're actually alive or not. Let's be honest, statistically, you probably died back on night 1. Priceless. If you're still alive, worry not. You survived the night. Just do the same shit you did last night, but better. Yeah, those robots really want you dead because they think you're me. Yeah, long story short, I put on a fucking rabbit suit back in the 80s and lured some kids into the back room. Then I strangled them and stuffed them all into the robots. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the hell is wrong with you, baby? Are you a child molester or some shit? Rest assured, I'm not the kid he did lose or anything like that. I'm just an eggplant man who gets a kid out of getting shitty haunted pizzeria shut down. Granted, I'm the reason most of them are haunted in the first place. By the way, night guards who survive this far usually see weird things due to stress, and or drinking the rubbing alcohol in the supply closet. You might see a shitty yellow or recolor of the bear. If you do, just flip your camera monitor to snap yourself out of it. Just don't dick around, and you'll be fine. I'll speak to you tomorrow, too. And remember, you may not be able to out-wrestle the bear, but you certainly can't out-wrestle the ghost bear. Hey, Dave again. I have a surprise for you, man. Listen to this shit. It's hilarious.
Oh, hey, wow, day 4. I knew you could do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been for me.
I'm gone.
I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you.
Thanks.
So when I did, hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm gonna try to hold out until someone checks.
Are you ready for
Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there. You know. Oh no.
Wasn't that fucking gold caught in the pun? He got funked. Hard. Anyway, I'm massively fucking hungover from drinking all of the rubbing alcohol in the supply closet last night. So I'm gonna go have a fucking nap. Catch you later. Hey there, man. Sorry to interrupt. Whatever that was. You see, I've just realized something. Most people who work end up the exact same way. Stuffed into a bear suit within half a week. I gotta wonder what kind of person would just get a job here, all willy-nilly, and then out-survive a man designed to make just robots behave. Bullshit. You aren't some rookie fresh off the street. You've landed this gig before. You're a Freddy's veteran, somebody with experience. According to my calculations, there's only two people you could be. A nerd named Jeremy Fitzgerald, who by my calculations is basically a vegetable now. For old sport, it must be you. Nobody else could just plop their ass down and survive 4 nights like it's nothing at all. Old sport. Oh, how I've missed you. You came back. You always come back. Have you come back for me, old sport? Have you come back for old Davey? I knew it. I just knew that you really loved me. Look, I have to go, old sport. What? I'll be right back tomorrow night. Okay. Stay alive, old sport. I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Sportsy. Alright, I've had enough of these belt-covered bastards chasing me around, trying to stuff me into a tacky fucking bear suit. I've gotta find Sportsy. It's time to deal with these robotic fuckers. Dave Miller's style. It's smashing time. I never liked that fucking rabbit. Fuck you, bedhead. Nobody can out-wrestle a bear. except for old Davy. You're in hell. Facts. I'm in hell. You fucking dunk. Since that golden bear scrotum is long dead, it's time to go back to the safe room to retrieve my lunchbox. Ah, spectacular. My lunchbox. Oh, why hello there, ghostly spirits. Do you need something? That sounds lame. I don't want to do that. Any day is your happiest day when you're in Vegas. Nice try, but I don't believe in consequences for my actions. Now, you're just bringing the mood down. You're all ghosts. I can't literally just walk straight fucking through you. That sounds hysterical. That's a grand fucking idea. How do I look, fellas? Am I sexy or what? You know what? You guys are good sports. Sorry that I've sort of... God damn it, I hate you all. Believing, pain, fast discomfort, pain, fast discomfort. Oh God, I'd feel my heart being torn apart if I had one. Why, hello there, future entrepreneur. Congratulations on purchasing the start-your-own Freddy Fazbenders Pizzeria Location Kit, 1993 edition. I am your friendly company representative. I am not a child murderer. Freddy's is a chain of fast food joints that span the entire of America. At its prime, Freddy's had over 50 active locations, most of which would permanently shut down due to a suspicious number of toddlers going missing on our premises. How crazy is that? I'm sure glad that I've had nothing to do with any of that. You, good sir, are a young visionary who bought the Freddy's merchandising kit for a hefty fee of $12.50. The first step of setting up a successful Freddy's pizza joint is to choose a suitable location. And not just any cardboard box will do. Small enough that mysterious giant scuttlers can't lay eggs in your restaurant undetected. Trust me on that one. Secondly, you need at least 2 rooms. A room for dancing in, and a room for bleeding out in. Don't splurge on buying a location. Also, save yourself a headache and a Floyd carpet. You'll thank me later. Next, you need ingredients for your pizzas. The nearest dumpster will do nicely. You want your pizzas to have that distinctive Freddy's taste, don't you? Next, you'll need performers. Robots are expensive, so just buy a fat doggo for $20 and call it a fucking day. Or, better yet, fish something out of the trash. Don't attempt to murder any kids that are buffer than you are. Don't put the rabbit's face on a goddamn pizza. Taxation is theft. Don't pay taxes. Don't drop kick any screaming toddlers. And don't molest the facts during business hours. That's all I have for this date. Goodbye, future restaurant owner. And remember, you are the new face of Freddy Fazbender's pepperoni.